Okay, thanks everyone for joining today. We are going to start in about 1 minute, but good afternoon, good evening, good morning where you are. We yet have another session today for the PMP, and we're going to tackle risk, stakeholder engagement, and quality as part of the content. So for those that have been here since January, the first webinar we had on the 13th, we completed the whole content for PMP by last week. So we are starting again, and this is going to, so for the next 10 sessions, we'll cover the entire content for PMP. It will be mixed, but we'll still be able to cover. So what I would encourage you is, if you're preparing for your exam, try and ensure you join at least the 10 sessions. You'll have revised the entire content through these webinars, and you'll be able to take your exam after that. And what I mostly encourage is that during this time, try and schedule your exams. And as you know, the PMP is changing in July, later this year. There's going to be several changes on the PMP exam. So I highly encourage you that you take the exam before those changes kick in. Normally it takes a bit of time before things stabilize. And the advantage you have is that if you take exam before July, is that you have all the information right now to be able to take the exam. But once the exam changes, there's that period where we need to gather a lot of information here and there, and then change the way things are because of the new content. So highly encourage that you take the exam before July. For those that are taking the exams tomorrow, this week, I wish you all the best. As you can see on the WhatsApp group, other candidates are posting how successful they've been. And for those that haven't been successful, and we are trying to also support them to be able to pass their exams. Okay, so let's start by just sharing where you're from, posting on the chat where you're joining us from, and also when you're sitting for your PMP exam in a few seconds. So I'm originally from Kenya, but I'm based out of Dubai at the moment. So yeah, hope to see where most of you guys are based out of. I know several of you because you've been attending since January, so it will be just good to share on the chat where you're from. And as you do that, I'm going to introduce our instructor for today. He's from Nigeria, from the Chevron Group. The Chevron Group is an authorized training provider. So for those that are seeking to take their PMP exam and they haven't, because I know it's a mixed majority of you are ready to take the exam. However, for those that are just starting and you've been invited to this webinar, feel free to reach out to them. They are based out of Nigeria. So feel free to reach out to them. They'll take you through the content, the PMP content, and they're going to share their details today. You'll be able to reach out to them directly. And if you just want to do a refresher course with them as well, you can be able to do that, or one-on-one. If you want to do one-on-one, tutoring with them, or maybe reach out to them for any questions, feel free to do that as well. And they will be very, very helpful. So I'll hand over to the team. I see there's several of them that have joined today, but I'll hand over to Toba because we spoke just a while back. And then we can start. I see a lot of candidates are already posting on the chat where they're from. So over to you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Nelson, for the introduction. And I welcome all of you to the PMP Webinar Campaign 2026 review for Q1. This is a presentation by Chevron Group today, 19th of February 2026, and your presenter, as Nelson has said, is Bangbushi Toba from the Chevron Group, Nigeria. Chevron Group We are leading training and consulting organization dedicated to developing professional skills across healthcare, project management, HSC, and we are out for organization excellence. We have extensive experience in delivering practical and industry recognized training, and we have been empowering individuals and organizations that have achieved professional growth and operational excellence. So our flagship program is one of them is this PMP training, which we are equipping participants with globally recognized project management skill. By preparing candidates for exams, we ensure that professionals can manage projects effectively, not just in paper, not just in theory. They deliver results on time and within budget as expected of a good project manager, and as well as the advancing in their career while aligning with international project management standard. You can always reach us at info@kevrongroup.com, and our contact number are as displayed on the screen. Today, we will be looking at the PMP exam content outline on domain 2, which is about process domain. But I need us to understand that the project management exam itself is strategically structured around 3 core components, which work together to assess your project management knowledge. And the understanding of this core component will actually help you while writing the exam, as well as while delivering your role as a project manager. And the components are the domain, the task, and the enabler. The domain is the high-level knowledge area that is essential to the practice of project management. The task tells us about the underlying responsibility that the project manager must carry out in each of the domain area, while the enabler are the examples that demonstrate what the task is all about. For project management exam, the domain is actually, there are 3 core domain, and they are weighted in percentages. Just like Nelson said at the beginning of this webinar, it is going to be changed from June, anytime from June upward. But as of now, the weighting of the domain, which are 3, as I mentioned, we have the people domain, we have the process domain, and we have the business environment domain. The people domain is weighted 42% in your exam. The process domain is weighted 50% in your exam, and the business environment is weighted 8% in the exam. For the people domain, we have 14 tasks under it. For the process domain, we have 17 tasks. And for the business environment domain, we have 4 tasks. The purpose domain basically focused on the soft skill and leadership required to manage team and stakeholder, while the process domain focus on the technical aspects of the project management, which include planning, executing, closing across the the methodologies of project management. And the business environment ensures that whatever we are doing in the project, meaning that whatever the people are doing and the processes they are following aligns with the organization strategy, compliance, and requirements. That is what the business domain, that's what it focuses on. And like I said before, the domains, this is how they are weighted in the exams, and this is what task they are focused on. However, today we are looking at the process domain, which has 17 tasks under it. We are not looking at the 17 tasks. We are looking at just 3 tasks under it. We'll be looking at task 3, which is assessing and managing risk, basically risk management. We will also be looking at task 4, which is engaging stakeholder, which is basically stakeholder management, and task 7, which is quality management. To start with task 2, we need to understand that the primary duty of a project manager is not to deal with problem, but to prevent problem as much as possible. And this is the value of task 3, which is assessing and managing risk. We should know that risk management is the chief cornerstone, as a matter of fact, of any successful project delivery. What is a risk, therefore? We can say that a risk is anything, any event, any uncertainty that can affect the objective of the project, either positively or negatively. So since it will affect the objective of the project, it is now the responsibility, duty of the project manager to proactively identify this possible risk, to assess them, and to have plan to respond to them throughout the project life cycle. But when we have knowledge to deal with risk, that is when we can plan for it. In a situation whereby we don't have data-driven data sufficient enough, the risk itself become uncertainty. And that is why the risk response strategy is very key in our project management if we want to be successful. Don't forget, the risk can be positive, as stated before, and it can be negative. When the risk is negative, it becomes a threat to our project. When it is positive, it is a benefit to our project. It is an opportunity to our project. So how do we deal with the negative threats is the first thing we need to look at. The threat itself can be categorized into two. We have high priority threats or risk, as the case may be, and we have low priority risk. When we have high priority risk, the first thing as a project manager we should have at the back of our mind is to eliminate the risk entirely so that it will not disrupt our project. And how do we do that? In avoiding our risk, it could mean that, our scope is adjusted to accommodate for this threat that is coming up. Take for instance, we may have to remove some work packages. That is better than canceling the whole project as a whole. Or we can add maybe another additional work package just to ensure that we avoid risk. For instance, we want to add testing into our work package if it is not there before, to prevent or to eliminate any threat to our project. But in a situation whereby we cannot entirely avoid the risk, we need to have plans in place to deal with the risk when they happen, to reduce the impact of the risk as much as possible. And that is the second strategy of dealing with high priority risk, which is mitigation. In case the risk happen, because as we said, it's a risk, it might happen, it might not happen. In case it happen, we will have plans in place in order to deal with this type of risk. Having said that about the high priority risk, we also have low priority risk too. This low priority risk, may not have significant effects or impact on our time, on our resources. They are very, very low risk. So, and the way we can deal with low risk or low priority risk is by transferring the ownership to a third party. Take, for instance, we can get an insurance to cover that part of a project such that if anything happens, the liability is going to be on the insurance company. Better still, we can contract it or outsource that part of the project out. But I need to state something here. While we are transferring the risk, it has not eliminated the risk. You know, you are giving that assignment or that responsibility to another person, a third party. As a project manager, you need to have it at the back of your mind that what if the new owner fails or disappoints? How do you deal with this? Well, the risk automatically, despite the fact that you have transferred the ownership, it becomes a secondary risk. So you must have a way to deal with your with the secondary risk that you have. You have to prepare for every possible secondary risk that you have. Then if the risk is out of the scope of the project, oh, that is even easier. Just escalate to the project owner, to the customer, because that one is out of your maybe authority or your scope. You escalate it. But in a situation whereby this risk is your risk, you can't transfer it, you can't escalate it. You have to deal with it. So you will accept that risk and have a contingency plan in place to deal with this non-transferable risk. So as much as your project has risk, like we say, as much as it has a negative impact, there is also possibility for it to bring opportunity for you. So in as much as you are trying to avoid the risk, when the opportunity presents itself as a project manager, you have to exploit it. You have to ensure that, okay, this happens so that it benefits the project. And you enhance, you do everything to ensure that, oh, you have that positive risk that will enhance, that will make you increase the probability of the risk happening so for your project to actually progress. And on the third way you can deal with it this time around is, if you don't want to pay attention to it, but it is important or it's needful, is you can share the risk by allocating the ownership to a third party. And I know from all of our countries, we are familiar with joint ventures by our government. The essence of joint ventures or private public-private partnership by our government is just to share the risk, meaning that, okay, this project will have benefits, and whatever benefit that is therein is not going to be it's not going to belong to the private companies alone, but it's also going to a part of it will come to the government. So, and the last way we can maximize opportunity, opportunity in the positive risk that we have in our project is, if it is beyond our scope as a project manager, there is no miracle you want to perform other than to escalate it to the people that are responsible. But if you cannot escalate it, you have to accept it. All this will be possible if you do something as a project manager, which is carrying out risk assessments. And we must understand that risk assessment is not a one-time activity in a project lifecycle. Rather, it's a continuous process. And that is the reason why we must continue, like the title said, iteratively, meaning that on a continuous basis, at the end of each phase, at the end of each cycle, we have to check, because the risk that we had at the beginning of the project is likely going to change as the project continues. The risk that you have in the middle of the project is likely going to change because we have new information. The risk that we have at any point of the project is going to change because of so many conditions regarding our project that has changed. That is why project risk have to be identified and evaluated through assessment, and they have to be documented in the risk register. There are two ways we can assess our risk. Number one is qualitatively, and number two is quantitatively. As we all know, quantitative analysis is subjective analysis of risk. By identifying the possibility of them happening and the potential impact when they happen. Don't forget something. they are subjective, meaning that it's not based on any scale, or rather any yeah, it doesn't, it's not based on any scale. We just put, okay, let's put a scale there to identify the probability of occurrence and the potential impact. And we say, okay, let's use a subjective scale of it is low, it is medium, or it is high. Or we can borrow from our number, use our number from 1 to 10, but it's subjective. However, we have a quantitative analysis. And you know, when anything is quantitative, it has to do with number. Quantitative analysis of risk requires a numerical evaluation of that risk and rating them based on the measure of probability and the amount of stake involved when this is happening or when this happen in course of your project. And the easier one, or the simplest one, is the use of expected monitoring value, EMV. And maybe at a step further is using Monte Carlo simulation for numerical impact assessment. The essence of carrying out risk assessment is just to show us our risk exposure, because that is what the assessment is going to do. It's going to reveal risk exposure to you. And that is why a continuous reassessment is important, to know whether any adjustment needs to be made to the apparent information you have, especially as your project progresses. And the formula for it is very simple, which we all should know, should have at the back of our hand. Risk exposure, or EMV, expected monitoring value, is the probability of a risk happening and the possible impact, or the impact of that risk when it happened. I believe we are together and we understand this phase. If my assumption is correct, I want us to look at some questions together to show whether we understand what we have said. We have 3 questions here to assess ourselves, to test our understanding of risk management. I'll give us some 2 minutes to go through the questions and drop our answers in the charts for number 1, number 2, and number 3. Thereafter, we are going to look at it together. Okay, so I believe that we have checked our knowledge on risk management. I don't know, Nelson, can you confirm if we have answers, and if anybody is ready to tell us the reason why he picks the answer before we progress? Nelson, please. Hello.
I'm not seeing any answers on the chat.
Oh, okay.
They,
So no
they
one
just
is.
started coming. They just
Okay, they are
started
just
coming
coming.
in now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Maybe just give it a few more minutes.
Okay.
The questions are just below the text. So there's 3 questions.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to question 1. The question 1 states that a high impact risk has a low probability but catastrophic consequences. What is the best response? We have A, acceptance; B, transfer; C, mitigate; and D, avoid. Do we have anyone that want to tell us his answer and why he picked the answer. Okay. Nelson, please. I think I can see some hands.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, speak on.
Okay, hi everybody. So the first one is high impact risk. It has a low probability of occurrence, but the reality is when it occurs, the impact is catastrophic. So in that instance, the best option is for you to find a way to mitigate that risk, right? So the one of the way you can mitigate the risk is, make sure you. I think we have a. So make sure I think the best option is actually to transfer. Just buy insurance against it, right?
Okay.
Just buy insurance and you protect yourself. The next one,
No, hold on,
second,
hold on, hold on. Hold on. Olajide, I think, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Okay, you
okay,
want us
please hold
to
your
to
thoughts.
discuss
Oh,
this? Okay.
yeah, I want us to discuss this actually because I saw some hand. Do we have anybody with a different opinion so that we can discuss it?
Yes,
Yes,
thank
I
you.
have a
I'm thinking it's C. For me, I was guided by the catastrophic consequences. So I thought maybe if you can then mitigate it, the better, and then you protect whatever your project would have achieved or is going to achieve by mitigating. So I put 1C.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Do we have any other one with a different opinion?
Yeah, I think I have a different opinion with respect to that.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, it's a high impact risk, which will probably affect the project on the long run. And then being a catastrophic, I think I made a mistake when typing the answer. I think I go with D. We should try as much as we can to avoid the risks from happening because it is gonna catastrophic will mean the project might likely be on halt. So I think that's my response to that. Thank you.
So your answer is what, please?
D, avoid the
D.
risk.
Okay, avoid. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we have transfer, we have mitigate, we have avoid. Do we have anyone different? Any opinion different from these three?
I think my response is transfer.
Okay, yours is also transfer. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for participating. Okay, we have another hand coming. Do we have another
Yeah, I think my
person?
response is avoid. I think looking at, because they said but it has catastrophic consequences, and once it's catastrophic, that's the extreme of an effect on the project. So I would rather say for such we should avoid such risks. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you all for participating. Now let's analyze the question. First and foremost, the risk is high impact. And if you remember in course of study, we said the high impact risk, there are two things you must do about them. Is either you avoid them or you mitigate them. So that eliminates B and A from our option. So we are left with C and D. Now, the second part of the question is now what will give us what to do. They said it has a low probability that the chances of it happening is very slim, that it might not even happen. You understand? But when it happens, or if it happens, wow, the project can be altered. So what do you do to such thing? You have to avoid it, just like two people said. You have to avoid it as much as possible because this catastrophe, we don't know the extent of it. So it's better we do not even allow it to happen at all than letting it happen and trying to limit the impact. We don't even know the impact. So avoidance, is the best way to deal with high impact risk. Are we together?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Can we proceed to second question if there is no query on this one? Can we proceed? Okay.
Sorry,
Let's go
maybe
to
before
this.
we proceed, maybe before we
Okay.
proceed. So I think I understand the explanation and it makes sense. So in what context do you transfer? Is it only when it happens, the chances that it will happen frequently is high? Is that, and maybe the impact is moderate? Is that when you consider transferring? Because if you
Okay.
look at a real life scenario, for instance, maybe you have the likes of hurricane or you have maybe tsunami and all of that, you know that the chances that it will happen is low, but when it does happen, it has an impact, a major impact. So in that situation, what you do is you buy insurance against that event happening. So you can avoid the situation in that regard. So I'm just trying to apply that logic in this case, which was what prompted me to go with transfer. You buy insurance against it. So just trying to, so that we have clarity around exactly how to address this kind of questions or things in the exam.
Okay, so I think we have answer from what you just said now, that the only risk you transfer is the risk that cannot be avoided. That is the first one. If it cannot be avoided, you transfer it. But if it can be avoided, just avoid it totally. You mentioned hurricane. Yeah, hurricane has low probability of happening, right? But when it does happen, it is very catastrophic. And what a responsible government, what they will do is that once they are seeing the signal, what will they do? They will notify citizens that, oh, you are on the path of the hurricane or whatever, please leave there. Just avoid that environment entirely, so that even if it happens, yeah, you are safe. If it does not happen, you are safe wherever you are. It is far better than, okay, let me buy insurance that will cover my house if hurricane happen, or let me buy health insurance that will cover my health if it happens, so that if it happens, they can take me to the hospital and they will take care of me. I don't know if that is clear. So
Yeah, it makes
number
sense.
one, high impact risk and catastrophic with a catastrophic consequence, avoid it as much as possible. It is only unavoidable risk that should be transferred. But also,
Okay.
while transferring it, don't forget what we said, that, oh, while you are transferring it, you know that you are at the risk, or you have secondary risk too, because the third party anything can happen to the third party too. So meaning that you still need to have your risk response for the low impact risk that you are transferring. Are we good to go?
Yes, we are. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So let's go to the second question. This one is going to be a walk in the park for everybody. So a risk has 30% probability and $100,000 impact. What is the EMV? In course of our discussion today, I give you an hint that have that formula at the back of your hand, because it will always come. So who has the answer for us?
And the answer is A.
30,000. Yeah.
Okay, so I know everybody will get that one. That one is a walk in the park, so it's not a problem. Thank you so much. So the third question is reviewing. Oh, risk reviews are conducted monthly. This demonstrates something: A, risk acceptance; B, iterative assessment; C, risk transfer; and D, risk exploitation. So who is going to tell us the answer?
Iterative assessment.
You said what?
Iterative assessment.
Iterative assessment. Thank you. Do we have any different answer? Okay, I believe silence means all of us agree with him. So what we do continuously means that it is iterative. So, and as we said in course of this study, that we must review our risk. Risk register, we must review it every now and then to be sure that, okay, our risk still maintain the priority. We are going into task 4 of process domain now, which is stakeholder management. We should understand that proper project management requires that all stakeholders are identified, analyze their power, their interest, their level of engagement in the project, and know their requirements and expectation, and ensure that all this information that we gather at the beginning of the project is embedded in our project scope. That is why stakeholder engagement is very critical to our project success. By the way, who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is anyone that is impacted by the project. So we need to know the level of impact that our project is going to have on everybody. And that is why at the beginning of our project, stakeholder analysis is very, very critical. So because we are going to use it to collect information about the stakeholder and their stake in our project. Once we know their stake in our project, then we can now map them, we can now put them into category and plan how we are going to engage them in course of our project. Because the success of our project will determine, the success of our project is determined by how we effectively engage our stakeholder. Because if they are well engaged, they are going to support whatever we are doing. Resistance is going to be reduced, and wherever or whenever we need collaboration in course of the project life cycle, we will have people that are going to support us. And one thing that will do for you as a project manager is that you have a project success. And the other thing which is very good is that, your customer is going to be satisfied. And the easier way this is done is to use power interest grid framework. It's a tool where we use to categorize all the stakeholders and determine the strategy by which we will engage them in course of the project. For a high interest stakeholder in course of our project, we need to manage them very, very closely, because they have a lot of say in our project. As a matter of fact, they are decision maker as far as our project is concerned. So you don't have to be asked for updates before you provide updates for them. But when they have high interest, but they have low power, okay, you can always keep them abreast, every now and then also, so that they know what is happening with our project. But if somebody has high power, but it has low interest in your project, because he has power, especially the people with strategic power or executive power, they don't need much story, but you have to keep them satisfied. They have to know that, okay, yeah, everything is working very, very well as planned. So periodic summary has to be provided for them. But then the person that has low interest and low power, we will not ignore them. Though people call them peripheral stakeholder, yeah, but we still need to communicate to them. The reason why we need to do that is because when we are talking about stakeholders, no stakeholder, or most of the time, stakeholders don't have permanent position in your project. Sometimes their position in your project changes or varies. So because of that, you need to maintain a good relationship with all these stakeholders. And the location of our project, or the location of the stakeholder in course of our project organization, determines where this project stakeholder belongs. Take for instance, if this person is not within the organization, if it is a customer project, internal project we are handling, anybody that is not within maybe departments or the company where we are holding that project is an external stakeholder. But just like the vendor, all the third party to that project, they are external, but they are important too, like your supplier. Despite the fact that it's external, but what if your supplier fails to supply? It failed to deliver, is going to impact your project. So you need to know how to manage them, especially your supplier. You need to know how to manage them very well. And the internal people, that is, if you are the people that are in the organization, especially the people that are part of the project. So you need to know how to manage them very, very well. And just like I said, the dynamic of projects, you necessarily cannot determine it, because it changes as the project goes. So you need to manage all your stakeholders very well to ensure that all of them are, for the ones that are that will champion your project or that will actively participate in your project, you need to be sure that they support your vision, they support the project, and they contribute very well into the project. But for the ones that are neither here nor there for the project, they are neutral stakeholder, you still need to manage them very well, because just like I said before, you'll be surprised that a neutral stakeholder at some point in your project can become resistant and oppose the project or the project work. So, and that is the reason why communication, or engagement strategy is very, very critical in managing our stakeholders. I also need to say something here, that as we have power and interest grid here, this thing can be changed maybe in course of the exam or whatever, and it will be maybe impact influence instead of power interest. Impact influence is still saying the same thing, or power influence is still saying the same thing. Basically, as a project manager, you need to have a good engagement strategy. That is what will ensure that you succeed in whatever you are doing, irrespective of the type of stakeholder you are dealing with. Please, you have to take note of something. A stakeholder can be an asset, or it can be a problem to your project. This will depend on how you relate with those stakeholders, how you manage them, how you engage them. That is what will determine whether they are an asset or a problem to your project. But as a good project manager, you must ensure that you have good relationship with all your stakeholders. That is why stakeholder engagement plan is very, very critical in your project, because that will tell you how to deal with all the stakeholder. And as the project progresses, if there is need for you to, there will always be need for you anyways to adjust the level of stakeholder engagement, because when their position varies, then it means that you will need to adjust them. And how will you know whether when their position varies? That is where we have assessment matrix that will show, that okay, what is the engagement level that this person require? After you have identified, you have analyzed them. So assessment matrix will show that, oh, okay, this is the level of engagement it requires. Is it an optimal one, or what is the current level? If it is optimal, fine. If it's not optimal, then you need to work on how to improve it. And the only way you will know this is when you monitor. You have to monitor each of the stakeholder while you are carrying out your project. Keep in mind that your project success is anchored on how much you check in on your stakeholder throughout the project. This engagement requires adjustment throughout the project lifecycle, because that is what is going to ensure that you are successful as a project manager. Let us pick each other's brain again on task 4, which is stakeholders management. Let's check some tests and discuss as usual. We have 3 questions here. So let's read and drop our answers in the chat as usual. Okay, I believe we have our answers now. Do we have answers? So who is going to go for us? Who is going to take the lead? A stakeholder has high power but low interest. What should the PM do? Who is going to go for us? Okay, Ibrahim.
So thank you. So it should be kept satisfied. That's C.
C. Ibrahim said you should be satisfied. Okay, who else? Do we have a different opinion?
I would go for A. Manage
Okay.
closely.
Manage closely.
Just because I think that, they have low interest, so they might not be that involved, but you have to manage closely because if they have a decision to make, it might impact the project, so you have to manage them closely.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a different answer?
Maybe the same answer, maybe just a different explanation as to why. Answer will be to keep satisfied. And the reason is that this person has low interest in the project, so they really don't want to know so much about the project, so you don't want to get them too closely involved. But because they are very powerful and they have capacity to derail the project or delay the timeline of the project, it's always good to keep them satisfied and try to understand their perspective maybe once in a while. So maybe that would be a better approach, keep satisfied. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other, a different answer from the two? Okay, so, okay, Olamigoke, right? Do you have something different from those two? Olamigoke, I saw your hand.
Okay, yes, I was trying to unmute. Good day. So I would say D, keep informed, because the stakeholder, although they have high power, have very low interest. So just keep them informed on what's happening. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Do we have, oh, okay, I can see hands still coming. Yeah, you can unmute and speak.
Apologies, did you get me?
Hi, Emmanuel.
No, I
George
said
here.
I'm still seeing hands coming, meaning that people still want to share their opinion. So feel free to do so, please.
Yes, hi, this is Emmanuel George. For question one, my response I think is to keep them informed, which is D, because they are not interested, but they have high power. Therefore, they are still important. I mean, docile in a docile form. So keep them informed to avert kind of possible risks of them kind of going against what you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have manage closely. We have keep them satisfied. We have keep them informed. Do we have any other answer before we proceed? Okay, so let's proceed. So let's analyze the question. As a project manager, analysis is one of our work, and we have to do it very well. This stakeholder has high power. Just like Olajide that said it, that he has power to derail the project, he has power to stop the project, whatever, but he's not interested in the day-to-day activity of the project. Everything that is going on every day, he's not interested in it, but he has power. Maybe he's our sponsor, a project sponsor. All he wants to do is, okay, yeah, let me provide the money for the project. I'm not interested in, okay, cement has been gotten today, we are going to get iron tomorrow. No, it's not. No, this is a high-level person. So we can only manage closely someone that with high interest and high power. Are we together? Somebody with high power and high interest, we manage them closely. But somebody with high power and low interest, you just want to ensure that he's satisfied. He's not going to get regular information, but whenever you want to provide the information, you have to provide information that is satisfactory. He wants to be sure that, okay, his money is not going down the drain. So you keep them satisfied. For the people that you monitor, they have low interest and low power. And for the people that you keep informed, they are the people with low power but high interest. You know? Okay, thank you. Let's go to question number 2. A key sponsor is resistant to change. What should the project manager do first? So who is going to tell us? Project manager, what are you going to do? Okay, Olajide, what will you do?
Yeah, I think everybody will most likely get this right. I think the best option is always best option will be to always meet the person one-on-one to understand their concerns, and then that way you'll be able to address their concern, and then bring them on board. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, Olajide said he would prefer to meet him one-on-one. Okay, do we have a different opinion? Okay, so I believe that no one is opposed to what Olajide said, that when a sponsor is resistant to change, you have to discuss with them, So that's why as a project manager, you need to be level-headed. You need to be emotionally intelligent because you are going to meet with different kind of people. And your ability to communicate with them, with anybody is very, very important for your project success. Thank you all. So let's go to the last one. Stakeholder engagement assessment matrix compares what and what together. Okay, I have Benga Awoyemi. Do you want to go for us?
Yes, my answer should be hey, that is, you compare the risk versus the impact. Thank you.
Okay. Benga said you compare the risk versus impact. Stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. Okay, I have Elizabeth. Abi? I have Elizabeth. I don't know. So, Elizabeth, can you go?
No, my answer was D, considering we're talking about stakeholders here. So it's more of the level of power and influence you have towards the project.
Sorry, the answer is to number 2 or to number 3?
Number 3, I said
3.
power versus
And
influence.
influence.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I get you.
We're talking
So,
about stakeholders here. Yeah.
okay, that's fine. So, we have risk versus impact, we have power versus influence. So, do we have a different answer from these two?
I take answer D for question number 3. It's power versus influence because we are talking about the stakeholders here. According to explanation, you talked about power versus interest or power versus influence. So I pick D, question 3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a different answer? Okay, yeah, Rosita, please go ahead.
We have several hands here. I'm not sure if Sam, Gothia, Christian, any of you have a different answer than D.
Okay.
If you do, please. If not, then maybe just you can lower your hands.
Hi, good evening.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Hi, good evening.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good evening.
Okay. I will go for B, current versus desired engagement.
Okay, why, please?
Because we are talking about assessment matrix here. So the project is ongoing already. So, and there are some stakeholders that want to know the updates of the project, and they want to know the happenings in the project. So, by so doing, when there is an assessment, so automatically they will be able to differentiate what is the scope, what is the progress is all about, and they will definitely identify if there is a risk You understand? And if there is a risk that is about to become an issue at the same time. So that's why I think B is it's okay. But A
Okay,
also
thank
is
you.
good. A also is good. Risk versus impact. But
Oh,
I go for B.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So,
Can I
do you have a
add?
Okay. Okay.
Can I add?
Okay. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
evening.
Sorry. I think I'm aligned with the previous guy that take D. I'm aligned with the D, power and the influence, because in stakeholder engagement assessment metrics, we are talking of now the stakeholders in the project, which level of power, because power, with their level of power, they has impact in the project. Because any level of stakeholders, you talk about which power does they have, which influence does they have in the project. So either you keep them monitored, you keep them satisfied, or you keep them, or you manage them closely. So I go with it, but I have to refer you to number one. Please, can you also throw more light in that monitor and keep informed? I didn't get that where they belong. The ones for monitor, the ones for keeping informed. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. So I've noted that we are going to talk about number one after we are done with number three. I've noted that. Okay, so do we have anything different before we proceed?
Hello. Can I speak? This is Rosita.
Yeah, you can speak.
Okay, initially I took D, but I changed to B.
Okay, why?
I actually used elimination because this is an
Okay.
assessment matrix. It's not a power interest matrix. So it definitely can't be C, and it can't be A, and it can't be D. So it's B. So I just used elimination.
Okay. Thank you for your elimination method. Okay.
Hello,
So
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, so for 3, I think I'm also going for B, which says current versus desired engagement, because I think from earlier what you said the project is already in session, and we want to understand if these project stakeholders still require the same level of engagement, because today someone can be neutral, the person can be moved to leadership, the person can be supportive, and then they require different needs. So we are supposed to be accessing them on a regular basis to be able to tell. So I think this matrix helps us to tell where they are now, and then where we expect them to be or where they desire to be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone with different opinion so that we can proceed?
Can I just, sorry, I think I just got in. Just to
Okay.
provide context before you respond. So for me, the way I would look at it is segmenting them, of course, just like the matrix is trying to do. Who are the stakeholders that have power? Who are the ones that have influence, right? Those are the people that can actually make impacts or either derail the project in their ways, right? So I want to know people that have the power in terms of maybe the financial resources, and those that have influence to make things happen. Maybe they can also be problematic to the project. So for me, I think I'll be looking towards D, looking at power and influence, because those people that have the power and the influence will be those that I will be more concerned about, maybe in the short run. But again, that would be my own approach to looking at it. I may be wrong,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay, thank you all for participating. So let me say something. In stakeholder management, there are 3 things that you must have at the back of your mind as the project manager. Number 1 is the stakeholder analysis. This is where you identify your stakeholder, all the stakeholders in your project. You identify, you analyze their power, then you know their interest and the level of engagement that they might require for your project. So once you have done the analysis, The next thing you want to do is you want to categorize them based on the analysis that you have done. So when you are categorizing them, that's when you will know, oh, okay, based on maybe the power and the interest now. Oh, okay, this has high power, high interest, this has high power and high interest. Now, let me use that medium to answer this number one question that this person asked the other time. That, okay, when you have somebody with high power, high interest, that person, you need to manage him closely because he has everything to stop your project. So you have to manage him, stop the project, derail the project, or do anything for you. So you have to manage him closely. And one of the ways you manage him closely is you engage him effectively. You provide information for such a person, for such a stakeholder regularly. But when somebody have high power but has no interest in the day-to-day operation of the day-to-day project operation, you only keep them satisfied that whenever you want to provide information for them, it has to be satisfactory information. So for a high power, low interest person, you keep them satisfied. For a low power but high interest person, yeah, he has interest in it, but he has low power. So you have to keep them informed. And the reason why you have to keep them informed regularly is that despite the fact that he has low power, but he is interested in that project, he can do and undo. So keep them informed regularly so that they are happy with you. But for somebody with low power and low interest, you only need to monitor them. So that is how you categorize them. Now, when the project has started, you have categorized this, the stakeholder. How do you engage them? So you have to draw a plan. You have a strategy of engaging them. And while you are engaging them, you need to know their expected, let me say, their expected their expected engagement level, and you need to know how much you are engaging them. Do you see? That is what stakeholder engagement assessment matrix will do. That, okay, this stakeholder, irrespective of his power or position now, what is expected of me and what I'm delivering. That is what number 3 is trying to say. Is it clear at all?
Yes.
Is clear. So thank you for the answer. Meaning that number A will not be our answer, and C will not be our answer. Those ones, let me borrow that elimination method. Let's throw those two away. No, we are left with B and D. So D is suited for the categorization, stakeholder categorization, while B is most suited for the assessment matrix. Are we good?
What's the answer then?
Okay, I believe we are good. Before we proceed to the last.
Repeat again.
It's not.
Can you repeat,
I should repeat
please?
it
Which one
again.
is the answer?
I didn't get that.
Yes, please.
Please
repeat
say it
again.
again. Come again,
This is
please.
the answer.
Oh, okay. I said that just have it at the back of your mind that in stakeholder management, you need to analyze, you need to categorize, and you need to assess the engagement level. For the analysis, that's when you identify your project, your stakeholders. Then for the categorization, that's when you know what power they have and what interest or influence they have. And for the engagement assessment is for you to know whether you are doing what is expected or what is desired versus what you are currently doing. That's where you do the comparison. So having that at the back of your mind, eliminate number A and number C. So we are left with B and D. So for the D, it is suited for categorization, stakeholder categorization, while for the D is best for the stakeholder engagement assessment. Is that clear?
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's proceed.
So the correct answer is B
for number 3?
Yes, current and desired engagement, yes, is B.
Yeah, I can see why a lot of people have got confused about this, but if I can just add something, the two things are completely separate. They're not really linked. One, in the question 1 relates, as you've said, to the power and interest only. So that tells you, once you've categorized them, how you need to manage them. But in question number 3, what you're doing is you measuring how engaged they are. Okay. And so they either be neutral, resistant, et cetera, and typically you would have a current and a future state. That's how you would assess it. So the two things are distinctly different. I also quickly looked at question 3 and chose D, but if you look at it carefully, it's about engagement. It's the engagement. You're assessing the engagement. How engaged is the person? Is he supportive? Is he a leader? Is he this? Is he that? If he's neutral, that's all you're doing with that assessment matrix. It's completely different to the power interest application. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the addition. Do we have any other query before we proceed to the last answer?
Yes, good evening. Can I also just say my 2 cents? I think with number 3, I also went with B, and I think the answer was in the question there. Because like I think Duncan mentioned engagement. The number B says current versus desired engagement, and the question says stakeholder engagement assessment. So I think the answer was already in the question. And I've seen also a lot of questions are like that. So it's just reading carefully and linking there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, evening.
Good evening.
If I may add, please. My name is Tokwe. If I may add, I think for number 3, it was very, very plain that the answer was B. The D is saying power versus influence, not interest. So I don't know if they technically put that influence there to throw us off our scent. It's saying power versus influence, not interest. So that may be the easy answer for me.
Okay, thank you. Everybody has the reason why they pick what they picked, but I believe we are all on the same page now.
Yeah, sorry, but I think the influence and interest is the same. You can replace interest with influence. Or if I'm right, if I'm wrong, just let me know. I think you can say power versus influence or power versus interest. Am I right?
But maybe I'm still stuck. Sorry. I hope I can speak on point number 3. I think I'm still stuck under power versus influence. So my view is still that power is you have an entire project sponsor here so if you're looking at the stakeholder engagement, you have an entire project sponsor here. And then on influence, it's the level of impact that your stakeholder is bringing into this project. Yes, we have power, but the project sponsor might not have as or might not be as knowledgeable as an SME. So we have influence and we have power. So I'm still stuck at point number. My answer still remains D. I have not been. How do I put it? Yes, I've not been convinced enough that it's B.
I'm not sure what happened to our instructor, so let me just check.
I think we lost our instructor for a while. Maybe he's coming around.
So, can I provide my own understanding to maybe to help everybody with clarity?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think I also chose D before, but looking at it critically again, I saw why B was the preferred answer for this question. And when we're doing stakeholders assessment, right, what we're trying to engagement assessment. In that context, what we're trying to do is to see how well they are informed about the projects. There's possibility that some stakeholders may not be that aware. For instance, maybe they are community people, right? And then you're trying to do a particular project in that community. They may not be aware of the project, right? Some people may be against the project. They may be resistant. Some people will have a neutral perception to the project. They're indifferent, right? And some will support it. So it would be good to assess all of them and put them into different buckets so that you know the level of engagement or how engaged they are currently. And then if they are maybe the level of engagement is subpar, right? You can then plan on how you want to engage them or how to make them. That's more or less if the engagement is currently subpar, so that's the current engagement level, right? Then you want to then move to a desired engagement level. We then say, okay, we need to bring their engagement level up by making sure that they are aware of this project so that if they have any concerns, that concern is raised and then is addressed. So, that may be a better approach to look at it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome back.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, apologies for that. My internet provider decided to do what they like to do. Apologies for that. Can you see my screen?
Yes, but you are not projecting anything yet.
Not yet.
You are not projecting. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, kindly confirm that you can see my screen so we can proceed.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, we can see a screen. So I've locked the microphones. I will only be unlocking one at a time for those that have raised their hand so that we have an equal chance for everyone to give their point. So let's continue.
All right, thank you so much. So the last task that we are looking at today is quality management. What is quality? Quality is simply the degree to which the project will fulfill its requirements. That is basically what quality is all about. Quality management ensures that project deliverable meets the standard establishment and satisfy the stakeholders' expectation. It means that we have to conform to the requirements of the project. And the focus of this is to ensure that we prevent anything that will cause a defect in the project instead of waiting to rework the project. Because non-conformance will lead to rework and defects. And the more of this, the more of defects or the more of rework you have, the higher the chances of your scope, of you having a scope creep in your project. So as much as possible, we have to focus on quality, because when we focus on quality, the time spent on prevention, when we focus on quality, it means that we spend more time on prevention, which is far better than inspecting the defects in the project. And this is achieved when we continuously look for a way to improve our work, to improve our processes, and to improve the results at every phase of our project. And the easier way to achieve that is to follow the quality standard. So the objective of a quality management is to identify all best practices, all standard, all requirements for the project, and plan on how to meet them. It is the job of the project manager. And as good as we have it in the world, in the universe, there is standardization coming from organization. Yeah, it could be from your organization. You may have your internal standard for whatever project you are carrying out. We have government standard. In every country we have regulatory bodies for everything that we are doing. So as a student, as a project manager, you need to be conversant with the one that is applicable to what you are doing. And we also have international organization also that oversee the quality or the standard of whatever we are doing. So all of this knowledge has the project manager needs to have them, and it will determine the one that is applicable to whatever he is doing and ensures that he follows it. For instance, for International Organization for Standardization, which we are all familiar with ISO. They have ISO 9000. ISO 9000 is basically for quality procedure and how to follow them. Meaning that for every project you want to carry out, there is a quality procedure and how to follow them. It is your job as a project manager to look at it. And for the industry that we belong to, which is basically safety, we know that there are organizations in safety that oversee the health and the safety of every worker. One of them is OSHA, that is in America. It is their own job as occupational safety and health administrator is to be sure that every worker is protected, every worker is safe. After the required standards have been identified, the project manager needs to determine the requirements to meet and put measures in place to ensure compliance. That is very, very critical to our project success. And we have tools that can help us to check what quality we are producing, especially whenever there is the tools that will show if there is a quality gap, and when there is a quality gap, on how to deal with it, how to improve those quality, and how to prevent a reoccurrence. We have tool here and there, but for this program, we are just going to check a few of them. The first one we check is root cause analysis. I know, or let me assume that for most of us that are engineers, apologies to the non-engineer, you know that one of your job when you have a failure, so to say, or a failure, engineering accident, or as the case may be, is to know why it happened. The essence of root cause analysis is not just for you to have information. No, it's not just for you to have information. The essence of root cause analysis is for you to know which of your processes or which of your procedures that are not working, which of your procedure needs to be adjusted so that this type of things will not happen. That is quality management, so that it will not happen again. Or if it does happen, we have a solution to apply at hand. So it will reduce the mean time to restore will be very, very, very small, very, very low. So it will prevent defects in our project, and it will prevent rework of the project. Apart from root cause analysis that everybody is familiar with, another thing is Pareto charts. I know that all of us are familiar, or most of us will be familiar with Pareto principle, which states that 80% of your output is coming from 20% input, or as the case may be. That is Pareto principle. But in this case now, we are looking at quality and we are looking at problem, or we are looking at problem or the cause of the problem. Now, what Pareto chart will do for us is that, okay, it is going to identify the root causes that will bring the most problem. That is what it will do, similar to the Pareto principle. So once we have identified the root cause that is going to cause a major problem, take for instance, you are running a gas turbine and you know that you have a pipeline that supplies the turbine, and you have a water system that is cooling the turbine with another pipe. Okay, if the gas supply is cut off, the turbine will not work. If the water supply to the turbine is cut off. It will work to some extent before it starts generating it. And both of them are both of them have defects, or both of them are faulty. Prioritization has to come to place. Which one are we going to fix first? So these are the mind juggling that, or mental juggle that you will do as a project manager. But instead of running your brain riots, you can just use Pareto chart to know that, okay, which one is going to cause most problem and which one should I address as fast as possible. The next one you can do is use control chart. This one is a statistical processes. Just like I said, it's using number to determine the upper limit and the lower limit, and where whatever problem you are trying to solve, where it falls. So it has to fall within the acceptable limit. If it does not fall within the acceptable limit, then it means that you have a lot of work to do. Then we can also use the fishbone diagram. This one also determine the cause of defect, the impact, and the acceptability of the deliverables. The essence of all of these things basically is to ensure that we prevent issue in our project. That is the essence of quality improvement and control. So it means that we have to, as a project manager, you have to continually survey the project deliverable quality. And you will achieve this by putting monitoring and control in place. When you have a standard monitoring and control in place, it means that you are going to have less defects in your project. It means that you are going to have less rework in your project. And by that, the deliverable will be of high quality, and your all the stakeholders, they will be happy. Let's pick our brain again before we round up the class with on this task 7. Let's look at these 3 questions and come up with answers. Okay, so let's have answers. I'm not expecting us to spend much time on this, because this is very straightforward and simple. Okay, you can go ahead. Elizabeth, you can go ahead, please. Hello.
Elizabeth, your mic is open. You can unmute. Otherwise, we'll go to Mal.
Okay. So who is talking to us? Tell us your answer and the reason why you picked the answer.
Okay, Sam.
No one is talking. Good.
Okay, thank you very much. On question 1, I go with B, because now me as a project manager, if the defects are increasing beyond the control, beyond the limits, my work as a project manager, I have to conduct the root cause analysis and to identify why are the defects increasing instead of ignoring. That's why I'm canceling A. Then I'm canceling C.
Okay, thank you. You are picking B over A.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Any other person with different answer? And why? Okay. So it seems that we all agree with him. Okay, let's go to number 2.
I think I'm not sure if the hands that are raised wanted to say anything else. Maybe you can take one more. Anna? Okay, I think we can go to question 2. I think we can go to question 2.
Okay. Okay, question 2. Who is taking that for us? Christian, do you want to go for number 2?
Yeah, I think there's Temitope. Anna, your mic is on. You can unmute.
Hello?
Or Temitope,
Hello?
yeah.
Yeah, Topper speaking. For 2, I'll pick Pareto chart. Hello?
Yeah, we
Did you
can
get
hear
that?
you. We can hear you.
I'll pick Pareto chart.
Pareto chart.
Following as in Pareto chart, it can be complete chart enough for identifying cause and effects. Risk analysis is enough for identifying risk. That is risk analysis for identifying risk what happens. These are a few causes and effects. So I think just Pareto chart by the thought B.
Okay. So number 3, let's go to number 3. Who is going to tell us the answer for number 3?
Adewale. Okay, going to unmute Gothia. Well,
Yeah, so for number 3, I went for C, option C. Conformance to requirement.
Okay, so that we will not waste a lot of our time. You know, these ones are actually direct. Number 3, the quality is best defined as conformance to requirements. It's as simple as possible. It's as straightforward as possible. Pareto chart actually identifies the causes of defects, and as a project manager, what you should do every now and then is find the root cause of every issue. So in conclusion for today, when we integrate the 3 things that we have studied today, quality management, stakeholder management, and risk management, we can conclude easily that poor quality always creates risk, and that the stakeholders define quality expectation, and that managing our risk very well will improve our stakeholder satisfaction, and that when the quality is well managed, it's going to reduce the project's uncertainty. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar. I have a gift for us anyways. I don't know if you'll be ready to take that gift for coming to this class today. I want to pick our brain again with these last questions, if we want to do it before I close, before we open for Q&A. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.
so we have questions on that are being shared right now. So feel free to post your answers on the chat. When you post, ensure you put the number for number 1. If you answer, they just write 1A, 2B, 3, like that up to 6. I'm going to allow the microphone for everyone, but we will still follow the sequence, the hands. Itoba, did you want to start with the first question, as because I'm very sure the candidates have already done the first few questions as well.
Okay, that's fine. I will go ahead. A critical vendor informs you that a component may be delayed due to regulatory approval uncertainty. The risk was previously identified with a mitigation plan to use an alternate supplier. What should you do first? We have A, escalate to the sponsor, B, activate the contingency plan, C, reassess probability and impact, and update lesson learned. So who is going to go for us? We take maybe maximum of 30 people and we proceed to the next one. So who is going to go for us?
Yeah, we have Sam.
Okay, so
Sam, go ahead.
Tell us your answer
Very
and why.
much for that question. Okay, thank you very much for question A. Since it is what should the PM do first, I would choose C, because now it is better first assess the probability and the impact. Then after assessing, it is from there you will pick which decision is favorable to attack that, either to escalate, either to activate the contingency, either to update the sponsor. But the update of the lesson learned may not be there, because that one we do it after the closing of the project or a phase. So I would choose C, because that's the first thing you should do as a project manager.
It's okay, thank you. Do we have another answer?
We have got here.
We got here?
Yes, I have a different.
Yes.
I have a different answer, which is B, and the reason activate contingency plan, and the reason is since the risk was already identified and there's a mitigation plan, so you just go ahead and activate it.
Okay, thank you. Do you have another answer?
Olandre Waju.
Olandre Waju.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, the answer based on the question, they say may. They say may, so that means it's not really an issue. So what I believe to choose is C, because as a project manager, you don't quick to take action. So when something happens, you have to analyze, you have to investigate. So, and when there's a scenario of they mention first or before, you understand? So that's will make you investigate the matter. So I will choose C. I will first check the probability and the impact of that scenario on the project. So before I will take any action, because what they mention is may. So that's why it's not an issue yet.
Thank you. Okay, so let's just conclude and proceed. So, like Olanrewaju said, we don't know whether it will happen or it will not happen. You know, it is May, you know, so we cannot tell the sponsor, neither can we activate the plans that we have already. What we can just do as a project manager is, okay, if it happens, what is it going to affect and what is going to be the effect of it on our project? That's why C is the answer. Thank you for all. Thank you all for participating. Let's go to number 2. So, who is going for us? Number 2.
Christian.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, the answer to number 2, I'm choosing increased communication tailored to business value, because
Why?
this question is, that's number B, and that's B. Number 2 is B.
Why? Why did you pick B as the answer?
Okay. He said a powerful executive is losing interest in the project, but he remain influential. What is the first? So the first thing as a project manager is to now try to engage, try to communicate. Because this man, this stakeholder, this executive losing interest, need to communicate and kind of educate him, keep him posted to see why is he losing interest. So from the engagement you are discussing with him, so he can now bring his interest back on track. So I think that's the first thing the project manager have to do, to engage, to communicate, tailored based on business value. You need to reorientate, you need to educate him to tell him the value of this in this project. So by so doing that, he can now channel his interest back again on track. So the answer is B. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have a different answer?
Have Jose?
Maybe to add on what he just mentioned, at this point, I think we had already done the stakeholder analysis and agreed on how we are going to engage these stakeholders. So now what is remaining, because it's finding out the reason as to why they are losing interest. It could be maybe you are overwhelming them with the information you are sending. So you need to know specifically what are their needs so that you're able to align even your communication towards what they need. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do we have any other one before we move to number 3?
There was a hand by Olajide.
Yes. I think I chose D. And if you also go back to the earlier question we addressed, we said that when people are powerful and they're losing interest in a project, one of the things you want to do is to reduce the frequency of your reporting to them, because it's no longer of interest to them like that. So what you just want to do is to get them on your side, as against reporting to them. That can even trigger them. So I went with D, say reduce reporting frequency. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so let me pick up from where Olajide, I think, or stop. From this question, we don't know why this person is losing interest. Do we know why he's losing interest? So
we are not
this
told.
So that as let me say, as a project manager or as an exam taker, we are not assuming anything. We are working based on the question we have. So we cannot assume that, okay, it's because of the frequency of the report or not that the person is losing interest. You understand? The only thing an executive wants to know is the business value of the project. That's just the only thing he's interested in. If your project is taking forever and it is not going to add value to what he is doing, he is necessarily not going to have interest in it. But even if it's taking forever, but you know that eventually it's going to benefit the business, it will still support. Meanwhile, take note of something. Despite the fact that is losing interest, he remain influential. Do you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? Is it caveat? I'll call it now. Can you see? Despite that it's losing interest, is still kind of influential or supportive of the project. So it is a business value that we are going to communicate to the executive or to business. I mean, yeah, to the authority. Once they know the importance of business value, I think they are going to support whatever you are doing. So if on the long run you now discover other causes, then you cannot now apply any solution that is important. So, or that is that didn't fit. So let's go to number 3, please. A stakeholder
In
complain
this
about the
context, you're
first.
saying
So
B is the right
what's the
answer.
answer
Sorry,
then?
just to clarify.
B is the right
B.
business value. B, business value. Look at that, business
B.
value.
Okay.
B, business value. Business value is critical to the executive, other than any other thing. So number 3, please. Who is going for us?
Jose, followed by Christian.
Yes. Okay, so stakeholder complains about effects. So I think here we need to conduct a root cause analysis. So that is going to be number B. That will be the first action, right? Because we know that there's been rush testing and due to pressure, right? So for him to really clarify things, he needs to do a proper root cause analysis first.
Okay. Thank you. Any other answer before we proceed?
Yes, yes, I aligned. The answer is B.
Okay. So any other answer before the last person? Do we have any other answer before we go to number 4?
Olajide.
Sorry, just to look at this, investigation shows rush testing due to schedule pressure. So meaning investigation root cause analysis had already been done, and then the root cause has been identified as rushed pressure. So the options will be either we had more testers or we even approve an overtime for the current testers. But I think for me, I think root cause is out of it. Escalate delay risk is out of it. So it's between A and D. I chose D, but it's looking more like maybe A should be the ideal answer. But it's between A and D, so I'm not too clear on it yet.
Okay, as a project manager, you know you are working on budgets, right? And you are working on schedule, right? So one of them is creeping now, which is your time. Okay, so sorry, let me open more room for one or two persons to talk, more than 3. It seems like this is interesting. Sorry, let's take one or two other person on this on number 3 before I proceed. I give the answer.
I think we'll go to Franklin. Jose spoke in the other round. Franklin.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to, if you look at the question, I think the bottom line is what should PM do first? That first is a major consideration. So the first thing to do is to first of all analyze the situation. You have to first of all do analysis of what happened, before you can take any action. So I think I still go by the answer that said you have to conduct root cause analysis.
It seems so that the component may be led.
Okay,
Yes,
let's take one more person before so that we can proceed. One more person. Do you have any other opinion?
Yes. I may want to share. This is Emmanuel George from Sierra Leone. So in this
Sorry.
question, can you hear me?
Sorry. There's people that had raised their hands. I would want you to raise your hand as well, because We want to ensure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Then I decline.
Yeah, Margaret.
Can you hear me? I think for me, I'd go for B. For A, conduct more tests, add more testers, because of the keyword investigation. So it means that the root cause analysis has already been done. So is there anything else we don't know? So for me, my answer is still A.
Your answer is what?
A.
Okay.
Add more testers.
Okay, so let me just step in so that we will not waste much time. A stakeholder complains about defects. Let's take note of that. He complains about it. Investigation showed rush testing due to schedule pressure. Who did the investigation? It is not stated. As a PM, you are hearing that there was a defect, and you are hearing that it was due to schedule pressure. What should you do first? Do we have the answer now? You have to do your analysis. You can't just go ahead without confirming.
Yes.
Are we together? You cannot just go ahead by adding more tester or escalating the delay or approving over time when you have not confirmed what is said. So that makes B to be your best answer. So if you have now done B and confirm all of this, then you can now apply every other solution. Are we together? Okay, let's go to number 4. I believe we understand. Let's go to number 4, please. Number 4. This one has a bit of mathematics. So let me know who has done it and will tell us what he did.
Ikenna, then followed by Mal. Ikenna? Okay, Mal?
I would go with D, accept the risk. I would go with D, accept the risk. The reason for that is when you calculate the risk, 40% of 250,000, that's 100,000. Then mitigation reduces it to an impact of 100,000 at a cost of 20,000. So the impact will be the same as the risk, and this has an additional cost of 20,000. So I'll go with D, accept the risk.
Okay, thank you. Any other person?
Gilbert?
Yeah, so I think like the lady said, the impact of the risk is going to give you 40% of 250,000, give you like 100,000. And trying to mitigate it will reduce the impact to 100,000 at a cost of 20,000. So mitigation is even going to cost you more. And so at this point, it's either you just accept the risk or you do nothing, according to me, but I'm not sure between the two.
Okay. The last person, please, who is available for us?
Kura Dema. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's the next one. Go ahead. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Otherwise, we'll go to Ole.
Hello, so
Okay.
can I go ahead?
Olusegun.
Okay.
Good day, everyone. So for number 4, I choose B, implement mitigation, because we have the risk at 40% probability with an impact of 250,000, which the mitigation reduce the impact to 100,000, and with the cost of 20,000, that's 120,000, which is that's the mitigation. Then we have provided the mitigation plan already, and the next thing is to implement the risk response. So I will I choose B, implement mitigation. Thank you.
Sorry. What is your price for? Oh, yeah, what's the cost? What's the price? Yeah, what's the EMV, expected monetary value for the mitigation plan? Are you looking at the 250 or the 120? Which one are you looking at?
When I looked at, I compared the two, both the 250 and the 100 plus the 200. I mean plus
Plus 20. Okay. So that's just what I want to get. That's just what I want to get. Thank you. Anyways, let me provide answer to this one. We are
Hello,
going
sir.
to work the math.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, can I come in?
Oh yeah, please. Just the last person before we go, please.
Sorry.
Last person.
We do have Paul. We do have Paul before you, so I really want to respect that order. Unless
Okay.
Paul, yeah. Paul,
Okay.
did you want to say something? Okay, Adeji, we can go to you.
Okay. For number 4, the EMV for the risk before the mitigation was 100,000, and after the mitigation, the EMV for the risk now reduces to 40,000 at a cost of 20,000. So the total cost for mitigation will now be 60,000. So I think the best response to it is to implement that mitigation.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's actually the answer. B is the answer. How do we arrive at implementing the mitigation? Is this? You know that the EMV is the probability multiplied by the impact. In this case, it's going to be 0.4 times 250. I think that should be 80,000 or something. But looking at the when we have the mitigation, let's multiply 0.4 by 100. That will give us 40, right? And you add 20,000 to the 40, you have 60,000. Meaning that with the mitigation, you have 60,000 is still better than the previous one of 250, which we have 80,000. So implementing the mitigation plan is the answer. Are we clear on that? Hello, audience. Are we clear on that? Okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's go to number 5, please.
Okay, we'll start with Benga.
Okay. For me personally, I will go with the option C, that is engage in one-on-one dialogue. Why? Because option. Go.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I said for me personally, I will go with option C. Why? Because option A, B, and D I will eliminate. And the reason is this, because it's not the duty of a project manager to be able to do A, to be able to do B, and to be able to do D. But engage in one-on-one dialogue, I think, is one of the core duty of the project manager. So that is why I'm going for C. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have another person?
Christian?
Yeah, sorry, I'm aligned. The same answer. Yeah, engage in one-on-one dialogue, because in regulatory authority, resistance delaying approval. So when it's resisting approval, the next thing to do is to now engage the subject matter expert, which is now the regulatory authority. Engage him one-on-one, discuss one-on-one to know what exactly the requirements, why is it delaying, the necessary things that is delaying this approval. So them acting as a subject matter expert in this area, so engage one-on-one to know the actual issues behind it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And the last person, please.
Mary?
I think C
is before me, unless, okay, let me speak. So for me, I've chosen B, update the risk register, because I think as a PM, here we are seeing there's a risk of delays. And so the first thing would be to update the risk register. I'm eliminating A because that should not be the first thing to do to escalate. And change of scope will increase some costs. And then engaging one-on-one dialogue with an external party, I'm not so sure. So my answer is B. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the answer. A regulatory authority is resistant and delaying approval. Why? Why is it delaying it? Why is it resistant? How will you know? The last person that answered, I've forgotten your name, sorry. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The person is resistant and is delaying approval. Why? You don't know. How will you know? So that will give you the answer. We need to engage him first to know what the problem is. The problem could be from us. Yeah, maybe you didn't follow the procedure, your documents are not complete or whatever. You don't know. So you need to engage to have the clarity. Then once you have the clarity, you can now go back and say, okay, let me update my risk register. Or okay, let me tell the project sponsor, maybe there is need for us to change the scope or whatever any means you want to take. So engagement, communication is very, very key. Okay, let's go to the last one. So who is going to give us the answer? The last one.
Runyararo?
Yes, good evening once again.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm 30 Nelson said for me, I had a question on the one we've just left, number 5. I wanted to ask what would be wrong with updating the risk register? Because my thought process was, when you look at this is an external authority, which is the regulatory authority, is updating the risk register first not a good idea, and then you can maybe possibly go on to engage? Because I was from the thinking that since it's a regulatory authority, part of it might be beyond the authority that the PM has. That was my thinking. So would you please maybe further explain that? Thank you.
Okay. So like I said, we don't know why it's resistant and we don't know why it's delaying approval. If you want to update the risk register, what are you updating, or what will you say is the reason why we have this risk? Do you understand? If you want to change the scope, yeah, maybe you need to get to the sponsor because you want to change the scope. What are you going to tell them? So probably, or it's not even probably, the best way to deal with it is understand why there is resistance, understand why there is delay. Once you have that understanding, you can then proceed to update your register or proceed to engage your project sponsor regarding the scope or any other way you want to deal with it. As the project manager, our job is to understand the why. You will understand the why, the root cause, or, as we always say, understand it. And the best way you can have your answer is through communication and engagement. I hope that is clear.
And also, I want to support you, sir, on that one. Maybe she might not understand yet what you are trying to say, because you elaborated it even before now. When we are talking about stakeholders, engagement, blah, 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 we have different kind of stakeholders. We have internal stakeholders and we have external stakeholders. You understand? Just imagine, like, you are a project manager and one of your external stakeholders, they are having issue with the project, like this project is not going to move ahead, or this project is, you understand, you don't know why these people are having that issue with your project. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to update the risk register. Updating risk register, what do you want to put inside the risk register? Will you just go there and put that, regulatory body, they said, my project have issue? You understand? So what are you going to say to this project or project sponsor? So the best thing so far, whenever you see first, is, as per PMP, is to analyze, is to investigate. First, when you see first, you first investigate what is the problem exactly. You understand? So whether they ask you to meet the person or not, you have to check the suitable answer and check, okay, what am I going to do with these people when I get there? What kind of question I will ask them? From there, then you will know what to do next. So if it is next now, you can talk about, okay, maybe up to update the register. But now they are talking about first. So let us put that in mind. Thank you so much.
It's all right. So let's go to number 6 so that we can close. We have exhausted our time. Number 6, who has the answer for us?
I want to just look for someone who hasn't spoken. Most of the ones with the hands raised have spoken. Olalekan. Olalekan, Ajay. Otherwise, Tony, if you're ready.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Actually, I raised my hand to ask a question about the last number 5. It's just a quick one. I don't know if I can proceed. Then I can answer this question, number 6. I think number 6 is B, by the way. So I wanted to ask what domain, is it process or people for this number 5? This question, what domain it addresses? Thank you.
Okay, so number 5 is under process.
Okay.
Yes, we are
Saleh.
dealing with risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Saleh Ibrahim.
Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to give an answer to number 6. I don't know if that. So to me, starting from elimination, you first of all look at the things you can eliminate first. So starting with D, you start how to eliminate the stop the project. As a project manager, you're not meant to stop a project. And then changing a vendor, I don't think is in the purview of the project manager. So you're left to escalate and then perform a risk assessment. So I think I go with perform risk assessments to find out where the compliance, where the issue is. Thank you.
All right, and the last person.
Lawal.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, everyone. My answer to number 6 is D, stop project. And the reason why I'm choosing that is saying first action. The question says first action. You have to stop project because it has to do with compliance risk. You cannot proceed until you resolve the compliance risk. That's why I'm picking D. Thank you.
Okay.
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 Do you want someone else?
Lawal's approach is funny to me, actually. No, he's a military project manager. Once the
Can I talk?
Okay, so you can give us one more person so that you can.
Yeah, let's go to.
I'm enjoying.
Sorry.
So
let's go to
can I
Francis.
talk, please?
No, let's go to Francis. Yeah. I'm just picking some people who haven't spoken at least. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My observation is that this is
a regulation that the project has no control over. And the first thing that can be done is to escalate it, because the project manager doesn't have control over the project. Because this is a regulation, maybe it's the town council which has passed a regulation to be observed by the project. So what the project manager can do is just to escalate it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so thank you so much. As a project manager, I said it before that your first job is analysis. In your analysis, that's when you identify, whatever the problem is. And yeah, if there is need for you to categorize, from your analysis, you categorize. Then the next thing you should know or you should do regularly as the project manager is to assess. Assessment is very, very key, especially in your project life cycle. For everything that happens or anything that happens, you need to assess the impact, or the effects on your project. And starting a project or stopping a project goes beyond a decision that the project manager can make. Just like wanting to change a vendor, it goes beyond what you can do. And you can only escalate if it is out of your scope. But this time around, it is not out of your scope. It's a compliance issue that has to do with your scope, with your project. So you cannot escalate. The best thing you do is, okay, assess the risk, perform risk assessments. Then after that, you can now, any other thing that come out of it, then you can now proceed with that. But first and foremost, assess this new regulation, the effect of this new regulation on your project. Is that clear? I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for coming today, and thank you, Nelson and PMI, for giving Kevin this platform. I enjoyed this session. I believe you do too. May God bless you all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Toba. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
so
your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
yeah, so this has been one of the most engaging sessions. I mean, comparing to what we've had since January, this has been super, super engaging, and even the candidates would attest to this. So thank you so much for delivering such a great session. And to all the candidates, I'm wishing you all the best as you prepare. We'll send out these recordings tomorrow, and we'll also share the schedule for next week as well for more sessions. So to Kevron Group, thank you so much. If you like to reach out to them, please do reach out to them directly. They'll be able to guide you. If you like to take classes with them as well, you can do so. And yeah, thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Yes, the session is over.
Don't touch me. Don't touch. Okay.